Tally ho, my name is KingFishOcean and welcome to the Beginner's Guide. Now this is a game from the same creators of the Stanley Parable, something which was one of the very first things that I put up on this channel a long time ago, so this is very strange to come back to this. And admittedly I'm not even sure what this experience even is, but I know it's a similar idea to the Stanley Parable, but it's more, something kind of more simpler I think, so let's just get straight into this. Please make sure the audio is on. It's on, don't you worry, we got this. WSD and mouse. I'm not sure why you felt the need to tell me that. It's the PC game. It's kind of to be expected. I guess it's for those that might be new or might not.
Hi there.
Play PC
Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote the Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is.
Okay.
And that's exactly what we're going to do here.
Okay,
so,
I'm fine with that.
It's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveyWreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game.
It's a good game.
As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Ooh. Oh, alright. This is now potentially a horror game.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Okay, can't get through that way. I have a gun that has very quiet audio. That's fair enough. This feels like a game I would have played when I was younger on the Nintendo 64 or something. Kinda dig it. Reminds me of GoldenEye a little bit.
Security call reached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
This is a fight room, isn't it?
It kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately, we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force
Okay. I don't really understand where you're coming from with some of this. I'm not a game
I love
developer,
how you
but...
can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Interesting, nonetheless, though. Can I press... Oh. Why does E shoot? What the hell? E fires. What's that over there? Oh, it's like a little star. But, oh, right, this opens. Okay. Onward we go. I kind of like, even though it's like... They're gonna,
the space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
I want to solve it. Oh, God. No. Screw you.
Or, if you'd really like to solve the labyrinth, you're welcome to do that too.
Yeah, screw you, voice. In my head. And in my headphones. I want to solve the labyrinth. So we're gonna go all the way back. We're gonna solve it backwards. And then we're gonna solve it forwards and see what happens. And then I'll get lost, and then I'll regret my decision to try and solve the labyrinth. And we'll all cry together. It'll be a good time, okay? Trust me on this. Well, I found my way back to the entrance, it seems. Looks like the entrance anyway, unless it's just a random doorway. The problem is now, I actually don't know where I'm supposed to go. I kind of got lost halfway, and I regret every decision I ever made. Okay, I did it. Sweet. That took ages, but I solved it. There you go, I didn't cheat.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Probably not. Alright, screw it, let's do it.
Let me pause here for a second.
That animation.
What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Yeah. Nice. Just gonna ascend. Alright.
The beam causes you to start floating.
We off to the
And
afterlife,
this is an
baby.
important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So
Yeah.
he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
I'm down for that. November 2008. Yep. Please don't be a horror. I hope there's no horror games in this. The past was behind her.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
That's interesting. Alright. We are going in reverse. This is going to be tricky. I'm literally going to have to scan my path before I make it. Ugh.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative.
That's
It is
pretty
less
cool.
advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting. Why does the future keep changing? Oh. Whoa. Cool. I like that. I played a VR game like this that I actually have a video of somewhere. I can't remember the name of it. That was... I think it was just like The Experience, or it might be Sightline the Chair actually, where you were sat there, and every time you look around and make like... And you look at... Like, if I look over here, then I look over here, and then I look back here, that wall could disappear, that gap could become a wall, Then I turn back and that could become a pathway. Then I turn here and there could be a bouncy ball behind me. It was really cool. When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. If the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little font, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
I dig it. I mean, I don't think any of these oh god. Oh no. You are now entering. We're never gonna enter.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
The thing that makes it interesting to me is the fact that you never...
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Ooh. For some reason, I got like a weird Firewatch vibe then.
These early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
I can understand, you kind of... I have the same thing with series, like once a game is like kind of gotten boring to me, the series is dead in the water at that point, which is probably a problem. I'm starting to wonder if I have ADD or something like that, ADHD or whatever. I'm getting slower.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Why do I need to press enter? Why not just modify it and make me move faster? It's kind of weird. Alright. Whoa. What the hell?
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
That's really cool. I really dig that.
Coda
I'm
would
really
often
enjoying
tell
this
me
so
that
far.
he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
That's cool. That is really interesting. Like, I don't think I would download these if they were free, like a Game Jolt thing or something, but I don't think this would be anything that I would actually buy, that's the only thing. But as a little experience, it's me! I'm home, I'd buy this one. Uh-oh. Okay. That kind of entrance into a game makes me think it's going to be a horror. So I'm assuming this is done in the Source engine, or something similar like that, because this does feel a lot like the Source engine. I assume so, because Stanley Parable was made in the Source engine.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle.
Okay.
Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Right, so... What? I'm confused. Was the puzzle never fixed? I feel like it's never been fixed. Maybe I've got to walk around on the wooden floor? Right, let's walk around the wooden floor. I feel like the wooden floor is the key to this. I could be wrong, but it feels out of place. No. How to solve puzzle. Must consult wiki. Little help. I can't solve the puzzle. Is that the point? It's the point that it's meant to be that, like, sometimes there are barriers we can't overcome. Unless... lock myself in the room.
Alright, let me just walk. Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. we're gonna see it a lot.
Was he literally about to give me the answers to the puzzle? I solved it just as he was about to help us. I feel pretty good. What are these dots? I swear there was another one of those little things somewhere in there. Why does he put those dots everywhere? Is that like his symbol or something? Alright, we're in another puzzle a bit, I think. Oh, maybe not. Okay, bye, door. You know what, I'm gonna shut up. Never mind.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough.
Oh.
Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Alright, and enter. Whoa, what the living... What? What the heck?
How
Can
about
I jump
that?
off?
There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way,
Whoa.
I think that the point is the same.
It's colourful
is
as
that
well.
most of the time, you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player.
Yeah.
So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
I don't know, but that's pretty cool. January 2009. Oh god, we're back to this again. Are we gonna, like, get rid of the fog? You know, exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Okay. I'm however going to leave this here because I'm trying to make my videos a little bit shorter so you guys don't feel like they're really dragging on, because I have noticed that I feel like a few people don't really enjoy the full 40-minute episodes that I've been trying to do more of a game, because that can be a little bit of a pain, and like 10 to 20 minutes is that kind of situation where you could sit on the toilet, which I know is a weird example to give, or you can just eat your food while watching a video, and it's kind of a nicer amount than having like a full 40 minutes so you feel like you kind of have to commit to it. So I'm going to be trying to make my videos a little bit shorter from now on, but please feel free to give any feedback feel free to let me know in the comments section of any of my videos if you think that this 20-minute time limit or just over 20 minutes is not really enough and you want me to go back to doing 40 minutes. I think for some games though, such as Life is Strange or big story games like that, I will be keeping the 40 minutes though, because it's a lot easier to kind of get through that story in that sense. But my question for you is, what do you think about the message that is coming across in this game so far? I think it's quite interesting and quite lovely. Let me know in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Toodaloo!